Welcome to the ASCAP experience. I'm Shirley Halperin, Executive Editor of Music for Variety, and I'm thrilled to have Tai Verdes here with us today to talk about his career, his ridiculously hooky single A-OK, and many, many other topics. Tai, thanks so much for being with us.
Of course. Thank you so much. Like it's been amazing so far.
Yeah, I mean, you've had most people's pandemics have been very quiet and isolated and mellow, and yours has been like the opposite. It's really amazing what's happened to you over the last year, 18 months. But before we get into that, because everyone asks you about the Verizon store that you worked at, I'm going to ask you as well. Where was that store? Because I swear there was a really lovely gentleman that looked a little bit like you who helped me with a phone a few years ago.
Well, okay, I was in Culver City. I was also in Hollywood, and there was a downtown store. So I could have been that lovely gentleman with a little shorter hair. Maybe I look like this or something like that.
It's amazing. I mean, actually, in a way, it's very appropriate that you would have worked at a Verizon store because of your positive attitude towards, people when they come in there, they're all like probably scowly and
So mad.
angry, right? Like, I mean,
So
the
mad.
only reason you go into one of those stores is because something is wrong with your phone.
Yeah, a lot of the time people are just so angry all the time. And I just have to be like, stop. I am not Verizon. I am myself. I didn't do anything. I did not pay my bill like you did, sir.
I'm sure that happened plenty.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to sort of talk about how you write music, and what I've noticed about you is that you're really like a truth teller. There's not a lot of posturing going on in your album. It seems like there's an importance that you give to authenticity. Tell me about like where do you draw inspiration from for your lyrics and for your music and your sound?
Just from real life, to be honest, I don't really write about stuff that I haven't experienced, which makes it so that it's like vulnerable and authentic, like you were saying. But that's how I connect with the songs the most is writing stuff that I actually, you know, have experienced. It gives me the ability to go into detail about things that have happened and like really connect with the songs. And now that I'm on tour, it's like I would need to be loving every single second of these songs so that I can sing all of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're singing them over and over and over again, of
Exactly.
course. But, some of these songs were written when you were like at home. So were you sort of thinking back to previous experiences? I mean, you're only what, 26
I'm
now?
25 right now, about to turn
25.
26 soon.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're 25. It's not like you have like a wealth of life experience. How do you sort of remember conversations that you have and little bits of like fun words that go together?
It's a lot of it is just me writing down anything all the time. So like if anything like sparks my inspiration, then I'm just gonna write it down. And then hopefully I'll use it. Maybe I won't. Like I just need to have it just to make sure that I've taken a mental note that this thing made me want to write it down. And then maybe I'll use it in the future. But yeah, a lot of it is just me, being open to inspiration all the time.
Where do you write it down?
In my notes app, got to keep it in the notes app.
Gotcha. So you just have like hundreds of notes at this point, I
Oh,
imagine?
thousands.
Oh my God. You better get that new phone upgrade
I
ASAP.
need to. I need to. They ran out of stock yesterday when I went. I thought I was going to have the iPhone 13 by now.
Oh, amazing. Well, tell me about how do you view working on songs with someone collaborating as opposed to by yourself?
I think that I always work songs with people just because I don't have really a passion right now to be a full-time producer. I want to produce, but I like to co-produce. I like other people to like think of crazy sounds and then I pick the right ones, That's how I usually work. Or just like organizing things or like setting up my lyrics in the right way. So that's how I've been co-producing all of my music so far. And it makes it so that I have a control over it. And that's why you can tell that it's me doing it.
You've said that one of your real strengths is arranging. A-OK is a great example of a song that starts with the hook, like it hooks you right away. How did you discover that you had that skill?
It's just because I am just like everybody else. I don't want to be shown new music either. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody wants to, like if I walked out on the street right now and was like someone handed me a mixtape and they're like, listen to my song, I'd throw it in the trash because I don't really care about like listening to new stuff. But so like when I do make songs, I need to be giving people a reason to listen right away, whether it's with a verse lyric or a chorus lyric. You need to be introducing an idea that means something. And because like I want to be able to listen to my own songs. I'm not trying to listen to something that's surface level from myself. Um, yeah, and like when we first made A-OK, when I first got the um, it had the hook in it already, but it wasn't in the beginning, and that's what I changed. That was like the majority of the thing that I changed about it. And then I wrote the verses in the bridge, but I moved living in this big world right in the beginning because like that's the best part of the song at that point. And then we just added more and more and made it to what it is today.
And I'm sure when you saw it, sort of thousands of people singing along to it at Lollapalooza, were you just like, okay, that was a good call?
Well, I didn't really care about what everybody else thought. I just liked it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like I don't make any of these songs thinking about how it's going to be received. I just know by my like in my own head that I am super critical of what deserves my time for music, and I think everyone is. Everyone thinks that they're special. Like, I have the best taste. So I just serve my own taste, and then I think that if you serve your own taste, people with that are like minded will come and listen.
You do have a deep musical background, like you studied music as a kid, right?
Yeah, I played piano for 13 years and guitar and ukulele.
So, what is your preferred instrument? Because I've definitely noticed there's a lot of guitar on the album.
I do love guitars, especially when they have cool tones on them, man. It really helps.
Is there a particular one that you favorite?
Nah, I think any guitar. I think guitars have so many different ways of, making me interested. So that's the best part. Like piano too. There's some piano sounds that are cool too, but guitar just kind of you can get a nice little feel with that instrument.
When you write, do you write on piano or guitar?
I can write to anything, doesn't matter as long as it's inspiring. Guitar usually inspires me too, but I wrote a lot of my first album to beat packs. It
Mm.
wasn't even um and then I would like organize, I'd structure it later. But that's why you can hear me so much in the songs because I'm literally just taking the music that I like and then putting myself on top of it, sprinkling it all over, and then saying like, "Yo, this is what it is." Some songs not so much, but definitely Stuck in the Middle. I found on YouTube, kind of like Lil Nas X, where he just found the entire beat and then structured it. Bad News I found on YouTube. Like, man, there's a lot of Real World is on YouTube. Like a lot of the album is just me putting myself on top of tracks.
Yeah, so let's talk a bit about Stuck in the Middle because so you just happened upon this beat. You were you looking for something specific?
I was looking for something that was definitely musical. I was on YouTube. I was in the seventh level of hell on YouTube. And I was like, okay, I need to find something that really inspires me. And I was looking at like Harry Styles type beat, that type stuff. And then I found Stuck in the Middle. And when I found Stuck in the Middle, it was really kind of like, wow, this bass line is great. Let me see what I can do with this. And then the first thing I thought of was like, yo, and I bet you goes. And I was like, that's cool. That's hot. Let's just keep going. And then I just kind of did it from my first reaction, like just saying yes to everything and then figuring it out as we go on.
And then you had to sort of backtrack to find the owner of the beat, right?
Yeah, he lives in France. I still talk to him now. He's great. He is like really super talented. He has really organic tones and stuff like that. But yeah, I did backtrack. So I put out the song. That's what I think a lot of people kind of get backwards is like make the stuff, and if it gets attention, everything will be figured out. Like Olivia Rodrigo just had to give away her publishing for Good For You, right? She probably wasn't in there thinking, oh, we can't put it out because it sounds like this song. You just put it out, and then like it's promotion for your own brand at that point. That's how I look at it. So
Mm.
like if things are gonna it's taxes on what you want. That's what I think of when I share any type of writing or producing or whatever. It's like I'll give whatever needs to be given, but we need to make it successful first, especially if you're an upcoming artist. Make whatever, and then if it makes money, then we can separate it out to where it needs to be separated.
That's an interesting approach. But someone who puts their beats out on the internet, wants them to be used, right? Or, I mean, why else would you do it? It's not just for bragging rights.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it gives me an opportunity to like look through different types of like sounds and producers. And if the internet didn't exist, I wouldn't have what I have right now.
Amazing. And you mentioned Lil Nas X before. I mean, do you look to him as a sort of like something to aspire to?
Promotion wise, yeah, I think that he's one of the artists that actually understands that it's not 80-20, or that like it's not 80% music and 20% promotion. It's like it's closer to 50-50 music and 50% promotion, because he's one of the biggest artists in the world. Is he the best singer in the world? No. Is he the best rapper in the world? No. But he has a personality and he has a viewpoint and he has like a perspective that he thinks is worth sharing. And I think that when you yourself as an artist think that you have something worth sharing, that makes other people believe you as well. You just got to really believe in it. And that's what I think too. That's what you think with like a lot of these artists are just, sharing their perspective, at least when they have something to say. And that's how people get behind them.
Well said. Um, Tell me about so AOK is like ginormous. I don't have the current stats on it, but maybe we can flash some numbers or something. But it really is just such a massive song. How did it start? What was the genesis of that song?
So I went into the studio and I was working with Adam Friedman, who's worked with Mike Posner and like Black Eyed Peas and stuff like that. And he was the first producer that I had actually been in the same room with, because that's after I met my management team with Ryan Chisholm and Brandon Epstein, and they introduced me to him. And the first thing that I did was we made a bunch of songs first. We made Drugs, We Would Have Some Cute Kids, Feeling This Bad Never Felt So Great, all in a row. So we were already hot. And then he was like, okay, I can play you some tracks that I made before. And I was like, okay. He played some stuff that I didn't really vibe with at first, but then he played me A-OK, and he played that the guitar lick of and I was like, doesn't this guitar sound so good? So we put that in the song immediately. And it wasn't structured right. There was no hook in the beginning and stuff like that. But when I heard the hook, I was like, this has potential. And then I didn't do anything to it until like 2 months after, like I was realizing that I was making an album and I wanted to put the album out. And then once I started, messing with the track a little bit, putting my little producer touch on it, that's when I realized that this song was, definitely really, really strong. And I put a little verses and bridge on it. And then after that, it was kind of finished, and then all we had to do was like mix it the right way, put the ad libs everywhere that we needed to put it. But it was just such a great, just such a great vibe the entire time. It was really fast. It wasn't like it took the longest time ever. But I had come in later stage. I just talked to Adam recently, and he showed me like the first session where he made the track with some of his friends. I can't remember their names right now. Brian and Big T, he calls him. And it was slower, and it was, just like it wasn't even about A-OK. It was like something else that they wrote on it. And I had come in during like maybe like the 20th or 30th version of it. And then I put like 10 or 15 more versions on top of that. So it's like there was a process that I didn't even know about before I got to the song, that like this song took a long while to be what it is right now.
Wow, that's amazing. And yet, like when it came together pretty quickly, it sounds like. It was like a
Exactly.
long
I gotta
road.
thank Adam though, because he really like he reproduced the song to where he
Mm,
made the drums feel really nice. He made every single instrument cut through so that it sounded really precise. Like he did a lot of work to that record.
mm. Were you thinking that it could be a hit? I know that's such a weird question, but like you're a confident person. I mean, were you thinking like this is it?
Um, I don't know if I like, especially when I released it, I didn't realize it until I put it on TikTok, that video of me and I think now it's got like 40 million views or whatever, of me going, living in this big blue world, my head up in outer space, and seeing the reaction of that made me think, oh, this might have some real traction to it. But I didn't really know what it was going to be until we released it and we saw that it transferred to Spotify, and we saw all the numbers go in, and we got like 1 million streams in the first day. And it was really cool to see like everything click just the way that it needed to click. But the reality is I had other songs go viral before. Like I had, Stuck in the Middle go viral, and then Drugs went viral, and then we would have Cute Kids had a couple moments, and then because of that foundation of people knowing that, like, when I get in the car and sing a song, something might happen. I think people were also ready to hear music from me. It's not completely, but like they were like, oh, this guy, he sings songs. Oh, this is a great song. Let me go stream this. And then I think that's how I got some of my first like real fans off that song too.
Yeah, but there's when something crosses over to the radio like this is, it's a whole different big, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you can feel it, right?
I can feel it, but I really can't feel it because when I do listen to the radio, it's a little bit sparingly because I'm doing a lot of things right now.
Mm.
Um, so I can't understand how many times it's getting played here and there. But when they tell me that it's like, oh, it's number 12 on pop radio or something like that, that's when I'm realizing like, and other songs like from other big artists have been on the chart for a minute and then have dropped off, and
Mm.
AOK sticking around. It's like the little song that could, you know what I'm saying? Like
It
it's my
really
first
is.
song to break into the public hemisphere or whatever.
Yeah,
And to see it stick around this long is really cool.
it's ubiquitous
Yeah.
everywhere. Um, I'm looking forward to the marching band version, by the way. It feels like it could be a good drum line marching band
They should
situation.
play that at every college football game.
I mean, seriously, it's if you lose, it's okay. It's just a game, people. Um, well, so I went back to into your TikToks and I saw that you started 2020 on January 1st, 2020. You did a cover of "Don't Worry, Be Happy," and I wanted to ask, like, did you just manifest like a-okay from that very first moment, or are you just a positive dude like all the time?
To be honest, I don't even remember that, but it sounds like me. Yeah, I think I'm pretty positive most of the time, just because, you know, just first of all, I think that a lot of people think I'm happy, but I'm not super happy. I'm just positive. Happiness is an emotion, but positivity is a choice. So like I just choose to look at the positive side of a lot of situations a lot, just because I've been through some stuff that, not a lot of stuff goes my way, but I will stick to it till the end, the longest. Like, especially like the LA vibe, right? Where it's like, oh, a lot of people come and they leave. Maybe it's too expensive. Maybe they're not doing what they want to do. But for me, it was like, I'm going to stick around until something happens. And it's happening.
Wow. I mean, as someone who's seen a lot of artists sort of come and go, I always fall back to something Linda Perry said, which is that persistence is key.
Mm-hmm.
Persist, you can always have a career. It doesn't really matter, what age you are, or even if you had a hit before, which I always thought was really excellent to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so uh, the goal I've heard you say is output, right?
Yeah.
Just keep putting out music.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the market for consumers, for better lack of a better word, that's what they're looking for. I wonder if you think like, can songs be short and imperfect and just go out like? Because I think of a song like Bad News, it sounds like it almost sounds like a demo, and I'm not saying that as a diss. Like
Oh, for
I,
sure.
I think it's actually kind of cool because sometimes things are just too polished where people can't really sing that way. It's not natural, and yours is the opposite of that. Feels very natural. So how do you view output? Is it just like get it out, or does it need to be worked on right to get out the door?
Nah, the saying, perfect is the enemy of very good, and like that's how I view all the music. Stuck in the middle, not even mixed, not even mastered, put it out. You know, I think that Bad News, not even mixed, not even mastered. A lot of my songs were just mixed by Adam. He mixed them. I didn't really need it to
Or
be
like a rough
perfect.
mix, basically.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
then obviously you work on the mixes, but the thing is, we didn't hire mixers to come in and make everything perfect. And I think that's where you kind of lose some of the magic of it. Sometimes is where if you want something to sound perfect, then it's going to sound perfect. But is it going to sound like emotional? Is it going to sound? Is it going to have depth? Is it going to have errors that you can like hear? You know what I'm saying? In a good way, though. So the best part about putting out music that's not perfect is that you don't have to, you're never looking for perfect. You're looking for, okay, this is good enough, let's make the next song. Because I think like if I'm the type of artist that like obviously people are paying attention to this first album, for the second album I can see how an artist would be like, I need to make the second album perfect. And that's the thing that I'm trying to be the exact opposite of. It's like, I'm just going to put out the second album. And then if they don't like that one, then we're doing the third one. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't, I don't really make the songs for anybody else anyways. I'm just making them to impress myself. And then I just make another song, you know?
I love that because, like, the most classic albums, like in the history of music, have those imperfections,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what makes them so special. You really feel like you're in the room, when it feels like it's gone through some digital, filter. You're right. It's not the same. It doesn't have that emotional sort of, cadence to it. So I
Mm-hmm.
love that, Ty. That's so cool. Um, okay, so in your you were signed to Arista.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Sony music label, big infrastructure behind it. In your experience with the music industry so far, what has surprised you about it?
I've just how much it takes the artist to make things happen. Like you really have to know what you want in order to get things to go forward. Like if you have any sense of like, if people can sense any bit of like wavering from you, they're going to try and help and put your opinion and put their opinion on it, which they can, but it's your job to say whether you want it, whether you don't want it, or whether you are not going to take their opinions ever again. You know what I'm saying? Like that's your that's your prerogative. I can see why Kanye West is like so crazy about everything. I can see why some of these artists are so crazy because everyone's trying to touch yo shit. And it becomes not yours when everyone touches it and you're not making executive decisions on your stuff. And I can see why artists have trouble making it so that their next song comes out because they can't decide because they're getting so many voices in their head. But for me, there's nothing that can stop this train because I know the next three albums that are coming out. I know the names of them. I know the colors of the cover art. I know what's going to happen in for the next 3 years, basically. So if somebody wants to stop it, they better give me a good fucking reason because they don't care about this more than I care about it. And I can say that with the most certainty. There's no one in the world, no record label. I could go to the biggest record label in the world right now and they couldn't touch anything because I know what I want.
Wow, that's a
Unless they want to fight, but then, all right.
you are 6'7", so
Yeah.
you can just step on most people. But I was gonna say, I mean, that's a lot of pressure to put on someone who's in their 20s to make these very, very big decisions of, you know, global impact, right? I mean, you're with a global record company, but you do have this confidence about you. Where does that come from?
Well, it's honestly perspective. Like I kind of like I feel for like the people that are coming in the industry that are like 18 and like have to deal with all these decisions. I can see why, it's harder for a younger artist. Like I've literally experienced just enough life to understand that this is like my shit that I'm owning. And I'm also, just young enough to, appeal to a younger audience. I feel like I'm coming in with a great perspective of like, okay, I'm here for right now. Let's just make the most out of it. And the pressure is really like no pressure. I've had it not work before, like I've done wild things. Like I'm playing with whipped cream right now. I'm with the frosting on top. I've done a lot of stuff where I just hated the process, but now it's like it doesn't matter what fucking happens. I can go to any show, like I don't know, like a 300 cap venue for the rest of my life and sing A-OK and someone's gonna buy a ticket. It could get bigger than this, and maybe you know what I'm saying? Like the floor is getting higher to where I don't have to really worry about anything right now. And I don't buy a lot of unnecessary stuff. So that's like the whole point of it is like making sure money doesn't affect my decision making.
Right, right. Also, it takes a while for that money to come, so the mailbox money hasn't maybe trickled in as much yet, but it will. Which brings is a great segue to the next question. You're in an increasingly common position, or more common these days than it was in the past, of owning your own music. Explain why that was important to you, and how you managed to do that.
I mean, just to be honest, my shit. I want it. You know what I'm saying? And if you want my stuff, you got to pay for it. I think that not a lot of people price themselves right. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially, whatever inspiration that you have, that's expensive. Like everyone is going to profit off of the thing that you made. You got to price yourself right. If they want A-OK, you got to pay money for it. You know what I'm saying? You can't just have it to have it. This is my stuff. And especially when you have worked so hard to build to what it is now, like you want control over it indefinitely until someone wants to make some sort of like kind of fuck you offer and give you a bunch of money. Then I'll be like, okay, I'll take it, take it, take it. You can have it at that point.
So you're aware of all of these like insane publishing deals that are happening right now. I mean, you could, cash in, cash out, however you want to look at it, if you wanted to.
Even if I did a publishing deal, which we're talking about doing publishing right now, it'd just be like more of an admin type thing, and I'd still
Mm.
own my
You
stuff.
still want to own your
Yeah,
stuff.
because and that's another thing is like I know, like at least I talk to my managers all the time, and I've read like all the things that you need to read in order to understand the music industry, so I can make the decisions that I need to make in order
Mm.
to own things. Because then people might be able to flip something on you and say, "Hey, this is what you're actually owning." But in reality, you're owning like this much. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to know what's going on in order to make decisions. And that's a big part of it too. You got to like read the books.
Right, right. The Don Passman book, I assume.
Exactly.
All you need to know. My computer is being held up on it right now.
Love that.
I wanted to ask your advice to other aspiring artists, because it's something that you've put up on your TikToks and your socials. I love that you're, again, so positive, where you would tell someone who hasn't had that break yet, you're just one song away from making it, or you're almost there, keep at it. Is that your advice to aspiring young artists?
I think that you're just one song away from making progress. You know what I'm saying? Like
Okay.
even me, in order for me to get to the next level of, this artistry and like make my business even bigger, you need to be on the radio again or do this and that. But like it depends on what kind of goal you want. Like if you want to be at that level, you have to have songs that reach a lot of people. There's other ways of doing it. There's indie ways of doing it. There's like you can do it through like touring. You can build it through that way, but you have to have music that people connect with eventually, so that you can build your artistry. The downfall of that is like if you're making the music so people hear it, then people probably won't listen to it. You have to make it for yourself and then then switch gears and promote it. You know what I'm saying? So that people can listen to it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, you shout out Adele in one of your songs in the lyrics, so I was curious, what's your take on "Easy on Me"?
Oh man, it's an Adele song. That's my take on it. It's an Adele song. When I listened to it, I was like, oh, she's doing her Adele thing. Like every single time that she gets on the track, her voice sounds great. She got a piano in it, and she's gonna scream those lyrics like she's been stabbed in the heart. You know what I'm saying? So like that's all that I'm. If it was like if she started rapping, then I'd be like, oh, this is not an Adele song. She's trying some new stuff. But yeah, this is definitely an Adele song, man. And everything she does, I would love her voice. So she's great.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So Ty, you're now touring for the first time, and it's you're sort of a great example of how someone can take a large social following, or a viral hit, and actually turn it into like a stage show. What has that been like for you? What kind of crowds are you playing to, size wise, and what are you loving most about touring?
I think that even though that I've had this like internet success, I'm kind of doing it in random order, like this weird way of like I went to Lollapalooza and I played for like 35,000 people, and then I go and now I'm an opener for Quinn and Chelsea, and we played in like 6,000 to 4,000 cap rooms, and then we're now going and we're going to be playing in like 300 to 500 cap rooms, and just doing it in every single way to where I don't miss any step. but also I just get so much experience under my belt where I can understand what it's like for people not come to my show but be an opener to what it's like to go to a festival and play at like Lollapalooza or All Things Go or Summerfest in Wisconsin, and then now headlining. Like I haven't even played to my fans yet. You know what I'm saying? Like I haven't even gone and played to people who bought a Tai Verdes ticket. And with this tour that's coming out, it sold out in an hour. That was before even like AOK was out for like 2 weeks. The people that bought those tickets. So I'm really excited to people to see those people who had bought in so early on, and just sing some songs with them.
Well, Ty, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a really enlightening and fun talk. Appreciate you. And thanks to everyone who tuned in for the ASCAP experience. We'll see you soon.